And now it's time for Church Chat.
Welcome, friends. It's a joy to welcome you to another edition of Church Chat. I'm joined today by Penny Nutbrown, our children's minister here at St. John's, who's, I think, actually in Narnia as we speak, to talk about a wonderful new initiative for the young people in our church, Camp Narnia, which is going to be a program that's going to take children through that wonderful story, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, from C.S. Lewis, and some of the underlying themes. Penny, how did this idea come about?
Well, we had our last session of our Advent to Epiphany camp yesterday, and we were very lucky. We had all three gentlemen who played the three wise men in the Christmas pageant came, and so they were able to participate as well. So leading up to knowing that this was about to end, and I was looking at the calendar and trying to figure out, okay, what could I do between Epiphany and Lent? And I was looking online for biographies, of picture book biographies, and I came across this one, which is called Finding Narnia, and it's about C.S. Lewis's experiences as a child and a young man that eventually would become the basis of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe and Narnia. And then I kind of got to thinking, well, there's a lot we could work with there. So then I started thinking about, okay, what can we do that has a Narnia theme? How can we make this work? And started pulling up, and there's a ton of resources, which is really fortunate. So we do have the original book, but we also have, because this is a bit long for Zoom land, we also have an abridged version that we can work with. But there are also some really good resources for Christian reflection. And one of the books that I picked up is A Year with Aslan, and it's a daily reflection through all 365 days of the year. And so it has a passage, every entry has a passage from one of the Narnia books, and then some questions and things to think about. So I thought that was a really good resource as well. And then there's another one that actually gives us, for each theme in the book, Bible quotes or Bible passages that you can use. So I thought we can put all this stuff together. And I've sort of based it a little bit structure-wise on what we did back in the summer when we were online again. And we purchased a program from Illustrated Ministries called Compassion Camp. And it was really amazing. It had a lot of good resources within it, and it also had a lot of scope for adding other things in. So it was always based around a word of the week. So that's what we're going to do with this as well. We're going to base it around a word of the week. So the first session, we are going to base the readings around the word honesty. And we have the beginning of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. So you have both Lucy and Edmund going through the wardrobe and going into Narnia, and Lucy, being very honest, and Edmund being very dishonest, and how this reflects on what happens later in the story. So we're going to talk a lot about honesty and truthfulness and that first week. So yeah, so I'm like I said, I'm getting a little bit better at knowing how to plan for these sessions. We're finding that the hour-long session works really well for families. So we're going to go from 11 to 12 on Sunday mornings for 6 weeks. And it'll be some music, readings, activities, and of course crafts, because you can't have any form of Sunday school without crafts. And we're hoping for anybody who has some great ideas that they want to participate to join us. A church organist and musician extraordinaire, Elizabeth Barlow, is joining us the first week, and she is going to bring at least one of her medieval styled instruments and perform for us. So she's going to play some Narnia style music for us on Sunday.
Oh, it's marvelous. Getting everybody involved. And one of the things that I love about the Chronicles of Narnia is that it is a book that one can read really at any age. I mean, young kids can get a lot out of it, but as you get a little bit older and you begin to read into it a little bit more, you see that wonderful depth that Lewis creates. And understanding the story, perhaps we should say this as well, this isn't just sort of a fun thing that we're doing like, Harry Potter camp or something like that, but that the Chronicles of Narnia themselves are, in fact, deeply Christian stories. And Aslan, the lion, is presented as an allegorical Christ sort of figure. And these are stories that have a tremendous spiritual depth, coming, of course, from C.S. Lewis's own faith. Many of us may be more familiar with Lewis from his work in Christian spirituality and apologetics. Perhaps we've read Mere Christianity or some other one of his many works in Christian spirituality. But the Narnia series, I think, presents the gospel in such a beautiful, winsome way that we can relate to really at any age. So it's wonderful that you've got children, and you're going to be bringing in a multi-generational element to it, as you've done so beautifully with some of the other work that you've been doing.
The thing too that I thought was really interesting about working with The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe for this time period, or for the period that we're in right now, we are actually, a lot of us are making sort of parallels between what we're experiencing now in the pandemic and the Second World War. And of course, the thing about the 4 children in Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe is they're evacuees. And they've been sent to live with someone they don't know, in a place they don't know, separated from family, out of school, all these things that are challenges that these children encounter. And, our children right now are encountering a lot of challenges. And, we don't know when life will return to normal with the pandemic. And of course, for children growing up in the Second World War, and they're adults, no one knew when it would be over and what the world would look like once it was. And I find in general, I love Catherine Patterson, who wrote a lot of children's books. She has a wonderful line about why books and reading are so important in childhood. She says it gives children practice with the big emotions of life. And she said, so she said she read The Lord of the Rings as a child, and that she felt that if Frodo could take the ring to Mount Doom, she could get through 7th grade geography. And, so I thought that was a really powerful expression, though, to say that, books and reading give children practice. So if you can practice getting through something difficult, not knowing the answers, being unsure, if you can have that demonstration of faith and honesty and trust in whatever through the characters of a story, in this case, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, it gives us practice in then applying those to our own lives.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And of course, Lewis emerges as one of the great figures sort of making sense of life during the Second World War and in the period following. Mere Christianity, which I mentioned before, was delivered as a series of radio addresses on the BBC during the Second World War, when people were tuning in at a time when they were searching for meaning, searching for perhaps a connection or a reconnection with the life of faith, as so many people are doing right now. We have different media, and the world is a very different place in many ways, but these big cultural moments, these big global moments really do lend themselves to people asking those deep and probing questions, and not just big people, little people too.
We have quite an age range actually attending our Sunday morning sessions for Advent to Epiphany Camp. We've had 3 generations of a couple of families tune in and take part, and it's always fun when the adults are there, because the kids just love it when the adults make their wise man crown and wear it too at the same time. And I know, like, my friend Martha Sienna, she really loves all the crafting, and she's been helping me out with demonstrating some of the crafting. And the kids love having the adults involved, and I think the adults like the opportunity to experience the world through a child's eyes for an hour a week.
Oh, I think absolutely they do. It's one of the great things about becoming a parent is that I get to be a kid again. Grace and I just yesterday were sliding down the hill out in front of the rectory, and I was thinking, there's no way that I could do this without the neighbors thinking I was crazy unless I was a dad.
Yeah, I know it was because I taught for 35 years. I think I taught for 35 years. And it was, I remember saying to someone one day when I was, I had one of my kindergarten kids saying, can you make me a frog? And I sat down for like an hour and made this frog with a toadstool and whatever. And I remember, somebody came in and said, do you like your job? And I said, yeah, where else can I possibly spend an hour making a frog and get paid to make a frog, right?
Right.
But there is that joy of creation. And I think that was another thing that really drew me to Lewis for this idea, because when you read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, he has, there is the Christian allegory side of things. There's the war experience side of things. There are his studies in classics, his studies in Northern mythology, and he brings them all together. And I just find it's a really good exploration of the gift of imagination. And I find in general with children really love to create. So it's a big part of why we do all kinds of crafts, because, and I used to run one, maybe we'll run again if we, depending on pandemic protocols, but a children's story and craft time at the farmers market here in Port Hope. And kids had to come on Saturday mornings because they just so enjoyed making something. And we've got a couple of things planned for this coming week. I've sent my regulars out all of the material, not materials, but the list. So we are going to make a little wardrobe that opens and shuts, and we're going to make some paper dolls. And I made a few this weekend, just in preparation. We're going to make some paper dolls. I found these really good for storytelling in the summer with Compassion Camp. So we're going to do that again. I found a great pattern for making Mr. Tumnus's pan flute.
Oh, marvelous.
And eventually, not this week, but we will, when Aslan appears on the story, we will also get into making masks as well. One thing that I've been very cognizant of as I'm planning crafting is the fact that we are back in lockdown. And so trying to pick out crafts and modified crafts so that you don't have to go to the dollar store and buy anything. If you've got stuff kicking around the house, the lion's mane was packing material from a Christmas present that I received. And the flute is just made of straws and popsicle sticks. So I'm trying to find things that parents are likely to have kicking around in the kitchen cupboards so that nobody feels an obligation to have to go and buy anything to do the crafting.
Well, that's wonderful, Penny. It's just marvelous. And I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm hoping that I'll be able to join in some of the sessions as well. I'm a big Lewis fan and a fan of all things Narnia, the books and the movies. I wonder if we should say a word about how people can get more information about how they can participate.
Oh, we're going to have the Zoom link posted on the church website. So that's just a matter if you want to join us at 11 o'clock on a Sunday morning for the next 6 weeks is Narnia Camp Narnia for the next 6 weeks. The link on the website will take you straight there, and you just have to wait for me to let you in. I've been putting things up on Facebook as well. So if anyone wants to direct message me on Facebook, they can do that as well. And my email address, I'll do this slowly, is pmnutbrown, NUTBROWN @gmail.com. So people can get a hold of me then, and I can forward them the craft ideas and the templates and things like that. But we're quite happy when people just show up. So the link will be on the church website this week, so people can link from there. And that link will work for the entire duration of Narnia Camp.
Marvelous. Well, we're certainly looking forward to it. Penny, thank you for all that you do to bless our community and to bless our most precious members, our children, the young and the young at heart as well. And we'll look forward to seeing you for Camp Narnia.
Thank you.
Friends, it's been a joy to be with you for this edition of Church Chat, and we'll look forward to speaking to you again in this space before long. Bye-bye.